Alright, so let's see just how big this thing is. It's been a while. I'm probably going to need this. Okay, so just put this here. Wow, 12.9 inches. That's pretty big. I can hardly get two hands on this thing. Ooh, it's kind of slippery too. Hey, what's going on, everyone? You guessed it, I'm talking about the new Apple iPad Pro here. I just thought I'd have some fun, just measure how big it is. I wasn't measuring anything else, of course. But I kind of just wanted to make this video to kind of just talk about the iPad Pro. I've compiled about 10 reasons why you should and should not buy Apple's new Grande tablet. So without wasting any more time, I just want to go ahead and talk to you about some of the pros of the iPad Pro. Funny, right? Pro and iPad Pro. There are some pros of this giant tablet, even though it's been getting some mixed reviews. In my past experiences, I found about 6 pros with this device. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this off to the side because it's kind of hard to talk to you when this thing keeps getting in the way. All right, so the first pro has to do, of course, with the very large 12.9-inch display. Bigger is certainly better when it comes to consuming media, viewing videos, browsing the web, checking out news, opening apps, playing games. Bigger is certainly better. So the iPad Pro does in fact feature a 12.9-inch LED backlit display with a very high 2732 by 2048 resolution, 264 pixels per inch. There's no question it's a beautiful display. It's clearly the biggest iPad Apple has ever created. There's something special about viewing a tablet with such a large display up close and personal with iOS 9. It creates a very interesting, new, kind of magical experience, which is very weird to say. So with such a big display, it makes you want to use 2 apps at once, and thankfully with iOS 9, you can in fact do just that. It's pretty clear that with the multitasking features found in iOS 9, Apple was clearly thinking about the iPad Pro. All you need to do to really take advantage of the new multitasking features found in iOS 9 is turn the tablet over into landscape mode and swipe in from the right, and you can pick from an assortment of applications that are compatible with the new multitasking functionality. Granted, not every app takes advantage of the new multitasking feature as of right now. Developers have to implement it into their apps, so that is kind of a bummer, but the apps that do work with multitasking, they do run very, very well on the iPad Pro. Once again, multitasking is a must-have feature on a tablet with such a large display. But with such a large display, with so many pixels to push, with the multitasking features of iOS 9, the iPad Pro is still one of the fastest mobile devices I have ever used. It features the new A9X chip with a 64-bit architecture and the M9 Motion coprocessor. Basically, it's very, very fast. It's comparable to the Surface Pro 4, which was just released from Microsoft. I can play games very fluently. I can navigate the OS in a very smooth manner. I haven't noticed any stuttering or any signs of slowdown at all, which is very impressive, once again, considering how many pixels this device is pushing, given its overall size. It's worth mentioning that there is also 4 gigabytes of RAM in the iPad Pro. That's twice as much as the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus, and it's by far the most RAM in any iOS device, which is just another reason for you to possibly buy the iPad Pro. By now, it's pretty clear that Apple wants to create the ultimate media consuming experience with the blazing fast processor to play all those graphic intensive games and the beautiful display, of course. And Apple didn't disappoint with the speakers. There are a total of 4 speakers on the iPad Pro, 1 in each quadrant. There's a pair of stereo speakers on the top, a pair of stereo speakers on the bottom, and they sound really, really good. They're loud, there's a lot of depth to the sound, the bass is noticeable. Overall, I'm really impressed with these speakers. The hype that Apple has been giving them before this device had launched, well, it's real. A couple other pros worth mentioning include the battery life. I was able to get around 9 hours of screen on time, which is pretty darn good. There's a massive battery inside the iPad Pro, and with iOS 9, the standby time is fantastic. I could leave it on my couch or something with it powered on, and the next night, the next couple days, it would only lose a few percentage points. Also, Apple has launched 2 official accessories alongside the iPad Pro, which are kind of pros and cons. The pros are that, depending on the type of user you are, you might seriously like these accessories, and Apple is kind of thinking of you. But they include the Apple Smart Keyboard and the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil is essentially just a digital pencil that allows you to draw on the device using Photoshop or the Paper app, and it basically will appeal to any graphic artist out there, while the Smart Keyboard attaches to the connectors on the iPad to allow you to successfully type on a physical keyboard instead of having to rely on the on-screen keyboard. So that's kind of cool. But as far as the Smart Keyboard goes, it's a little bit of a con in my book because first of all, it costs about $170 on top of the already expensive iPad Pro, which I'll get to here in a moment. But also, it's pretty necessary. If you want to be productive on the iPad Pro, you will need a physical keyboard. Another con has to do with the fact that apps are not optimized with the iPad Pro. If you look at Instagram, for example, it is horribly unoptimized, and this is just one app. Most apps are very stretched out and quite simply just unoptimized. Apple apps are really the only semi-optimized apps, and I don't expect apps to really get updated for the iPad Pro anytime soon. It's probably going to be a full year before a majority of apps are updated for the iPad Pro. And while I praised iOS 9 for the multitasking functionality, it too isn't totally optimized for the iPad Pro. For example, the icons are very spaced out. Apple could easily fit another row of icons here. And once again, there are still no widgets found in iOS, which really does not take the best advantage of a device with such a large display. I also think while it has a beautiful large display that's great for consuming media and it's very fast and whatnot, I think for most people it's too big of a device. It's a very large device and it's also pretty heavy. It's about 1.5 pounds. So you're not going to be laying in bed with this thing watching movies, and you're probably not going to be, walking around the house or something holding this thing one hand. You're going to need two hands to really hold on tight to this device because it is so big and it is so heavy. But the biggest con with the iPad Pro by far is, of course, the price. It's $800 with the Wi-Fi model and with 32 gigabytes, and it just goes up in price from there. That's not including any accessories, not including a keyboard, which in my opinion, you pretty much need to take the most advantage of the iPad Pro and to be the most productive. It's an expensive device, and for most people, I don't think that it's worth $800. Maybe in a few years, once the price significantly is dropped. Apple, what are you thinking? But if you have the money to spend and you like a lot of the pros that I already mentioned, then by all means, I think you'll really love the iPad Pro. But I just wanted to make this video, give you some pros and cons of Apple's new large tablet. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really does help show your support. I really hope you guys liked it. It was kind of fun making, especially the intro. But with that said, as always, I'm Bo HD. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you right back here in the next one. See ya.